Hey everybody, it's your girl Nell, and I am in the tiny studio. As you can see, this is a Dreadlock love video, baby. You know what time it is. It's that time we talk about all things Dreadlock love, care, maintenance, support, and all the things related to the things that we love, which are our dreads. How are you doing today? Happy November. It is Wednesday. How are you doing? Are you having a good week? I hope that you are. I'm having a decent week so far. Wednesday is my favorite day of the week, so you already know what I've been busy doing. Cleaning. Wednesdays is the day, Wednesdays is the day where I do a lot of my housekeeping chores. So yesterday I got to clean, my master bathroom. We don't call it master anymore. We call it primary. I got to clean the bathroom, change the sheets on the bed, all of those great things that I do on Wednesday. Some people clean on Fridays. My mother used to clean on Fridays. I used to clean on Fridays too. My grandmother cleaned on Saturdays because that was like, she was an entrepreneur. So, she worked 5 days a week and sometimes on Saturdays as well. So, on the off chance that she was off, not working on Saturday, she cleaned on Saturday. But, what I started realizing about my grandmother, which is something that I want to do, and I've been striving towards doing, she really did not have a specific day that she cleaned because her house stayed clean all the time. All the time. She cleaned every room in her house and made sure that every room in her house was clean all the time. So, she really did not, she did big things like clean the carpets, wash the windows. She did things like that certain times of the year. But really, she wasn't like me going through the house and, on a certain day and with my Windex bottle and my furniture polish and the vacuum cleaner and the Lysol and all this stuff. She wasn't like a nail in that manner. Because she kept her house pretty clean all the time. I should ask her what was her formula for that. I think I'm going to do that. How was she able to maintain that and still, raise 2 children, well, 2.5 children, which would be me. Even though I'm her granddaughter, she did raise me as well. So how was she able to do that and, manage working 5 to 6 days a week? You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, how did I get on my grandma? I probably need to call her because last night I dreamed about my grandfather. So, thank you for visiting me. But, I always, I wonder about that. And I'm going to give her a call and ask her that question. Okay. So anyhow, this is a Dreadlock love video, baby. And we all know what time it is. And let's get into it. Okay. Today we're going to talk about whether or not your girl Nell, whether or not I retwist my hair and how often should you retwist your locks. Okay. Let's talk about it. Okay. Now, Nell, yes, do you retwist your hair, your locks? And if so, how often? All right. That's a really good question. Do I retwist my locks? No, I do not. As a matter of fact, I haven't retwisted my locks in probably 5 years. Okay. And when I say retwist, I even mean for special occasions. Do I retwist for special occasions? In the past 5 years, no, I have not. I am a semi-free form dreadlock diva. What does that mean, Nell? What does that mean? That means I just let my locks do what it do or do what it does. I let my locks grow in peace. I let my locks grow in peace, child. I do. I have stressed my locks out so much over these past 23 years that, I'm just like, my locks are like, thank you, Neil. Thank you for leaving us the hell alone. But I don't retwist my locks anymore. Not even for special occasions. I leave my locks as they are. I wash my locks 4 times a year, which is seasonally. And during those time periods, I go ahead and separate them, but I do not retwist. But if I had to, when I was retwisting my hair, my locks, I went through this thing where I was retwisting every day. I also went through this thing where I was retwisting every week. And then I was retwisting every 6 weeks. But basically, I was retwisting very, very often. Too much, because I eventually lost my edges. Yes, all of my edges were gone. At one point, I lost entire locks from retwisting. So you know, if I'm telling you that I have retwisted and retwisted and retwisted, and I just retwisted to the point where their locks were just falling out of my head, well, you know, that's a lot of retwisting, right? Hey, Tiny Studio Assistant. That's the Tiny Studio Assistant. She's just coming in from her place of employment. So yeah, so I retwisted my hair a lot. Now, what would I advise for people who do retwist their locks? What I would advise is, first of all, understand what retwisting is all about. Retwisting is when you take some type of gel aid or cream or wax aid, and you use that and you put it on the root of your locks, and then you palm roll or whatever other method that you may use to put the new growth of your hair and to place it inside of the lock, right? And then the idea behind a retwist is to train your locks, okay? For some, to train your locks, to get them to learn that when they grow, to grow into the lock. And another reason why we retwist is for maintenance, to keep our locks neat, to place them into a style, to do those types of things. And that's why we retwist, and that's why I retwist it. However, as a semi-freeformer and sometimes just a straight out freeform lock diva, I stopped retwisting my locks because, first of all, these days I really don't care about how my locks look to the world. I believe, and this is my opinion and my opinion alone, okay? I believe that when we do or go through a retwist, what we are really perpetuating is the myth that locks are supposed to be neat. They're supposed to look processed. They're supposed to look styled. They're supposed to fit into the norms of this westernized society, when locks are not supposed to represent a sanitized version of society. Locks are a rebellion. Locks are spiritual, okay? Locks are about culture, all right? That's what locks are really about. So it's, to me, and in my opinion, retwisting your locks to make them look neat, give them a sanitized presentation, to make palm-colored people feel comfortable around you at your job or your place of employment. To me, I don't go for that. I don't go for that, and I don't like it. And I did it for a very, very long time. And the reason why I, retwisted my locks is because I wanted to present a neat, polished, sanitized version of a style of rebellion, a style of a style of revolution, a style of spirituality, a style of culture. I wanted to sanitize it and make it presentable and palatable to people who don't pay my bills. To people who really could care less about my feelings and my emotions and the way I wanted to live my life. People who really didn't care. And I had to learn over the years to stop caring about people who do not care about me. All right. So that's why I eventually stopped retwisting my locks, period. And I just feel, when I start retwisting my locks, the budget that I had set aside for, the budget that I had set aside for lock gels and potions and creams went from maybe $20 to $30 a month to absolutely zero. Zero. Okay, I stopped spending that type of money. And then when I became a semi-freeform blocker, and I decided I wanted to, along with that, I wanted to lock my hair on special occasions, then I began to do natural things. Like I began to make my own gel from flaxseed. So that's a whole process. And so I began to do that. Because I said, well, if I'm going to be, retwisting my hair on special occasions for like anniversaries and weddings and things of that nature, I at least want the gel that I am using to be healthy on my locks. And so that's when I started to do that. But as I said, within the last 5 years or so, I've just stopped retwisting altogether. All together, and you can see that transformation here on this channel. I just stopped doing it because I just got to the point where I am in love with me. I am in love with how my locks look right now. I am in love with the fact that my locks are healthy. They're not smelly. They don't have any chemicals in it. They are just living their best life. And I'm happy with that. I am very, very happy with how my locks are doing right now. And so I would advise anyone and everyone to throw away your gels, throw away your creams, throw away your waxes. Stop retwisting. There are a number of benefits that take place when you stop retwisting your locks. And I just, I think I posted a picture of myself with locks, with my locks, and they were blonde or some form of blonde, and the edges were absolutely gone from retwisting. So don't do it. And like I said before, I really don't care about what people think. And I don't know if that has to do with age or what, but then I have friends who never cared what other people were doing or never cared about how people thought of them. So there's that. But I think that when you are a Jehovah's Witness, you are programmed to care about what other people think. And since I don't care about what other people think, and I really don't care about what Jehovah's Witnesses think, I just wear my hair as it is, baby. It is what it is. What you see is what you see. What you see is what the Dramatics said once a long time ago. What you see is what you gonna get. And this is just purely great locks. No chemicals within it. Nothing of that nature. No retwisting allowed or done. And my locks look fine. Okay. Yes, they're a little unruly. Yeah, sometimes I have to brush my locks into place, but that's all right. Who cares? Nobody cares. I'm living my best life, baby, and I want you to do so as well. So this is your girl, Nail. This has been another episode of Simply Nail's Tiny Studio. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please drop down in the comment section and leave a comment, and let's get the conversation going. So once again, to reiterate, do I retwist? No, I do not retwist at all. Should you retwist? Well, that's a personal thing. Do you want to retwist? And go over the reasons yourself as to why retwisting is important to you, and then come up with a really great, answer to that question, on your own, on a personal level. But, really, you should only retwist maybe 6 to 8 weeks. You shouldn't be retwisting every day. It shouldn't be every 2 weeks. Do I advise retwisting? No, I do not. I do not advise it. Don't do it. Live dangerously. Rebel against the system. You can do it. Neil supports you. So listen, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm your girl, Neil. Bye-bye.